Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. Holy cow, did that week fly by? And do we have a massive show for you tonight? Welcome to my channel. My name is Scott. Go Small, Live Large is the channel name. If you're joining us for the first time, howdy. Really appreciate you being here. And if you're kind of a groupie, welcome back to another What's Up Wednesday. We have got a massive show for you tonight, and I am so pleased to have my RV heroes, We're the Russos, Kait and Joe, as our guests tonight. Pinch yourselves, boys and girls. 6 years full-time RVers. I can't tell you what a joy it is. If Elvis rocked in right now, I'd be like, hold on, we got Joe and Kait in the house. We got a big show for you. Let me roll through some of this. We'll say hi to some folks in just a few minutes. We're going to bring on the Russos. We've got Four Roses as our bourbon for Libation Live. Joe kind of enjoys the color liquid too, so we might have to ask him about that. And they have a special song of the week they want to bring us tonight as well. And I can't tell you how pleased I am to have Joe and Kait. Here's them and me in July of 2018. If you know your airport codes, you know that MKE is Milwaukee. They were having a meetup at the MKE brewery, and I met them in person for the first time. I was so nervous, just like I am right now tonight. Just love having them. We're going to talk about Libation Live a little bit, and it's all about your questions. So get those questions coming in. What makes kind of unique with Joe and Kait is they've been through a whole series of rigs, really from the biggest to the smallest, and now they're back in a van. They just posted a video tonight on YouTube with their new Storyteller. So if you haven't seen that, watch the show and then go finish that off tonight. They're in a new Storyteller Overland Transit base, which is really, really awesome. Let's see what else we got coming at you from. I am coming at you from Holland, Michigan. Anybody know what's going on in Holland, Michigan, besides a rainstorm? That is where Volta is headquartered. I spent the day with the Volta team. More on that later. But I'm actually sitting in their parking lot. They said, hey, you can plug in. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm in the Volta headquarters with the Volta-equipped Travado. I'm sitting out here. So this program, again, is powered by Volta, which is pretty cool. You might be wondering where in the world is Holland, Michigan. Let me zoom in here for you. And that is kind of around the corner. Lake Michigan's in the middle. Chicago, you can kind of see there. And it's near about 30 minutes kind of west of Grand Rapids. Cute little town. If you haven't been there, put that on your van travel guide list. And it's raining here, but it's pretty warm everywhere else. Just curious what your weather's like. Let us know where you're watching from, of course. And here's, I always like to show this, what the gas prices are. This is Gas Buddy on the left hand of your screen. And by moving from Indiana to Michigan, I saved 50 cents a gallon by just crossing the state line. Couldn't believe it. And it's kind of an eye chart. Sorry about that, but it's pretty expensive real estate here in the Holland area. It's along Lake Michigan, so you can buy a house for $3 million all the way down to about $250. So pick your poison on your price point. That's kind of what's going on in the Holland area. And again, let us know where you're watching from. We had a lot of folks last week from Canada. And what we like to do is plant your flag on the map if you're coming in from a different country. So be sure and tell us where you're watching from. And what we do is say hi to just a few folks really fast. Let me show you. Oh, yeah, one more thing. I'm all fired up tonight. YouTube video on Sunday, van tours. You guys love van tours. I love giving van tours. This one's a little different. This is a Scott score on a Nova 20C. So what the difference here is, rather than kind of roaming you around the floor plan, opening up a cabinet and saying how nice it is, we actually put things in the van to measure how functional it is on my criteria. What makes this different still is I've provided you the worksheet on my website, Go Small, Live Large, to help you identify what is important to you, and you make your own Scott score on that van. So that comes out on Sunday night. Join me for the premiere of that. And if you haven't seen this one, this posted on Sunday last week, another van tour. So we're kind of doing those on Sunday nights now. And hey, if you're having a great day, give us a thumb up. And if you're having a crappy day, you're at the right place to perk up your mood. And I'm sure glad I have awning windows because the rain is coming down, but I'm keeping my windows open. And yes, boys and girls, I am working overtime to get some really cool guests on this program. And we have the Russos tonight in just a minute, but we have a little schedule shift, and I'm really excited about this. Let me zoom in here for you. So we've had Peter, owner of Rover Vans, on before. What makes this time different is, you see the ladder there on the back of this Transit van and the spare tire holder? We're actually going to, he's going to install the ladder on my rig, and then live on the show, he's going to install the tire carrier. I could not tell you how excited I am and how tough my van Lily is going to look with that. So that's coming up on June 15. And we had to reschedule the Byland RV folks from KOA Fort McCoy. So he's coming on the 27th. Storyteller's coming on the 27th of July. Andrew, the Chief Revenue Officer and co-founder, by the way. And then RUSSO'S. This got locked in. We're going to have the CEO. Do we only bring the best for you here or what? The CEO of RUSSO'S is coming on this program to talk about Boondockers Welcome, RUSSO'S, the how it enables an RVer to have really amazing experiences. So I could not be so excited about that. And Wingham, we're still trying to get them nailed down. They are like trying to pound mercury. If you ever tried that, that don't work too well. But we're getting close, so stay tuned for that. Let's see what else we got going. Hey, if you're into any of that kind of stuff, please subscribe to the channel. GoSmallLiveLarge.com. Visit my website or just subscribe on YouTube. That would be great. Okay, I think that is it. Let me roll one more. It's all about your questions. So we got big guests in the house tonight, boys and girls. And I hope we have about 1 million people in here. But get your questions coming in because in the house tonight we have Joe and Kait, the Russos.
Now, hold on a second. I've been trying to lose weight. I don't want to be the big guest. I don't know if I appreciate that.
It's the camera, Joe. It always puts 10 pounds on. You know how this rolls.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Filter, Scott.
Yeah, this is not Snapchat. This is YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. I know you guys have had a super incredible week. Lots of travel. It's just, you guys, you're right here, right? See your sticker. It's such an honor to have you on my show tonight and engaging with this audience. It's a great audience. And you've kind of joined before in the chat, but here you are live. So again, just a giant thank you so much. Maybe just kind of introduce yourselves to the folks if they may not be familiar with you, because the van crowd. Maybe you noticed this when you're vans, you got the van crowd followed. They went to truck campers. You're like, what? Vans?
Yeah.
Hi. So maybe just kind of tell us a little bit about that, and then I have a couple images. Tell us how we met our first time.
Sure. So Joe and Kait Russo, we're the Russos. We actually started full-time RVing back in September of 2015, and just recently got off the road full-time, but we're still traveling now in a van. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we've got YouTube channel, website, all that stuff. We've been sharing our adventures like Scott has. And we met Scott for the first time in 2018 in Milwaukee, that slide he showed. And he was looking into the lifestyle and we were living the lifestyle. So I think that got him going a bit more. And it's just pretty much been a whirlwind adventure. And we're still traveling, still on the road, doing a bunch of shows this season. Mm-hmm. And that's about it.
Yeah, we share a lot about the lifestyle tips and things that we've learned along the way. And yeah, good brewery. Yeah. That's where we met Scott. A great brewery in Milwaukee. And we all bonded over the Bloody Mary beer.
Bloody Mary beer. It was so insane. I'll just never forget. And for folks, this is the picture of us at the brewery. And I discovered your channel because I just was really frustrated with life. I didn't know what to do next. Wasn't fulfilled. Ran across you guys by accident. Didn't even watch YouTube, to be honest. And then discovered you in January of 2018. You guys were having this meetup. I think it was like for patrons only or something like that, right?
Yep.
And so I signed up and I ran up and let me show this picture. This is my passion at the time, which is my white sports car. And it's funny how your passion changes over time depending on what you're passionate about. And there's my white car. There's your van in the background, a Hymer Activ. And there I'm actually standing in the van. I've been watching your videos for 6 months, and then I was standing in your van. And I was like, I'm on cloud nine. I couldn't believe it. I was just pinching myself. And some of this audience have actually kind of had that same experience in my van. So it's kind of a peak-to-peak principle, right? I stand on the shoulders of you guys. Some are standing on my shoulders. And it's just all these life-changing events chained together, which I think is just so amazing. Tell us just a little bit about the van. I'm going to try and get to. So we're going to talk about rigs in a second, but any special memories from that van in particular?
I think the special memory was having our dog Leo in it. We had him in the van for about a year before he passed away, but he loved the van. Mm-hmm. The way the Hymer was set up, the rear bed would fold down and there was this hallway underneath, and that's where we put his bed, and he kind of made that his own den. And what I loved was especially when we were boondocking, he was not a morning dog. So when we would get, when we would get up in the morning, we'd finally coax him out of the van. He'd come out of the van. He wouldn't bother going to the bathroom or anything. He would just lay down and go back to sleep. And he loved that thing. We took him everywhere in it. And I think it really, having that van at the time, it was one of the first vans out there that had a lithium system where you could run the AC off of the battery and inverter. And that really enabled us to do a lot with him because we could keep the van cool. We didn't have to worry about him getting overheated. And he loved it.
Yeah, I had a year and a half with my cat in the van. He's kind of a dog cat. So I totally get it. Any plans to get a dog again? Now you got a van again.
Well, it's definitely a possibility. We've been going back and forth, and we just finished Overland Expo West, and someone brought their husky over to the Storyteller booth, and Joe just fell in love with this dog. So there is definitely going to be another dog in our future. It's just a matter of, timing.
Hold on, I got to pull up the photo. So the woman brought her husky, and the husky and I became instant friends.
Oh, no kidding.
Head out.
That's a handsome one. Yeah, you did. You're like, don't let go of that dog.
Right. I was like, I'm taking this dog with me.
It's got a new home. Well, let's say hi to a few folks. We've got a great crowd in here. And so this is Mason Mike. He's truly a van bro. We got Mark in the house. Good to see you, sir. Thanks. Denham Rue is in here from Suwanee, Georgia. Welcome, Russo's. That's cool. Thank you, Denham. Appreciate that. Oh, by the way, if you can help me out here, we got a lot of questions already coming in. If you can help me with this format. So it's 3 asterisks, 3 question marks that will help me more quickly find your question for the Russo's. So we want they are 3 years ahead of me on this whole journey, boys and girls. So they know in many different rigs, a lot more than I do. So this is your big chance. And so this is OHTJ, North Central Ohio. Looking forward to the Russo's. And hooked them like, oh, see, you're changing lives. It's so amazing. Congratulations. That is so great. This is Roger and Jane from Byron, Illinois. They have a Travado like mine, Discovery. Here's Rich. Simon Filmer, Chloe gets a bullet. Oh, she got stickers. You guys bought a sticker too, right?
Oh, yes. Buying a sticker from you is the best experience ever. I haven't done mail order in, I don't even know, since high school, maybe middle school.
Well, I did mail order not too long ago.
Made in China. That's got it. That is hysterical.
Buying experience was so special. And we got your Burrow sticker. It's proudly on our van.
That is so great. That's great. Well, I got your sticker right there, and I got your patch up here, so the feeling is mutual. Hey, we got Tin Can Carl from Lake Ontario, upstate New York. Tin Can, great having you here with us. Debbie, good to see you. Thank you. A lot of regulars today. This is fantastic. He's traveling in his, this is Justin, back home in Tampa, 7-week cross country. Kind of like what you guys are doing, because you left Indiana. You're now well past Arizona.
We're in
7,000 miles. Isn't that something? And now when you say, oh, it's only 1,000 miles to someplace, you're like, yeah, just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
I think last year we did cross country
3 times.
No, 5 or 6 times. Well, 3 loops.
Yeah, 3
around
loops.
The country. Full loops, like coast to coast.
That's so crazy. Yeah, my rig is, I got a van tour coming up. We're going to record it this weekend at almost 93,000 miles now, 3rd year full time. And the Volta guys, so again, I'm in the Volta parking lot. The guys were kind of looking at my rig today. They're amazingly not amazed at how well this thing is holding up on the Volta side in particular. And even on the Winnebago side, it's pretty amazing. But there's Guy from New Jersey. Oh, sorry?
Do you have anything special planned for when you roll over 100,000? Like where you want to be?
We should have a party. It's a good question. Let me work on that, Kate.
Okay. That could be fun.
We'll have a Vanbury camp out. That's so great. So New Jersey's in the house. Hi, Guy. Salty Medic, good to see you, sir. Ginger Walkabout in the house. My van sister. was no longer in a van. She had a YouTube channel. You guys may have seen her. Wow, Dan's first time on the Woo. What's up Wednesday? Thank you, Dan, for joining us. You picked a good night. He's watching from San Diego, where gas prices are a joke these days. Yeah, again, I crossed from Indiana into Michigan. I saved 50 cents a gallon. I'm like, that's cool. Okay. There's Joe. He's watching from Qatar, Doha.
Wow.
I know, right? Is that great? Which is like 2 a.m, I think, if I remember right. David's in Chicago. Great group tonight. Just thank you, everybody, for joining us. Just so great. Gary's in Rapid City. Oh, have you guys been to Rapid City? I know you've been to Rapid City.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of the greatest little towns ever?
Yeah,
in the right weather?
Too much time, but we definitely want to get back to Michigan. Are you getting more thunderstorm alerts?
Yeah, it's. Hopefully no tornadoes. Hopefully no tornadoes. And hopefully my internet holds up. When we were doing the green room, the internet crashed. So let's hope we can keep going here.
Is it too early to start with the bourbon? I'm not really familiar.
Since you're a special guest, Joe, tell us about your bourbon appreciation, and why don't you kick off Libation Live?
Sure.
This is going to be a little freeform tonight, boys and girls, because we got Elvis. We got better than Elvis in the house. Joe and Kait.
So if you all saw our last video, we mentioned that we have a home base now down in southern Indiana, and we are about 30 minutes from downtown Louisville and the start of the Bourbon Trail, which, if you are a bourbon aficionado at all, we live in the Mecca of bourbon. Well, I brought a lot with me, and over at Overland Expo, I think we finished off about 2 bottles worth.
Not between the two of us.
No,
we were sharing with the community.
But we had some local stuff called Benchmark, and you can't really find it outside of that area, but I really like it. But since I'm out of Benchmark, I am having Woodford Reserves, the double oak.
Yummy. So yummy.
So
I like how you roll, sir. Let's get our libation live early tonight. And to be drinking in the Volta parking lot at Volta headquarters, powered by Volta. I'm not plugged in. Sacrilege. This is just great. Let's have a little libation. Deborah, I see your question. We're going to get to that here in just a second. If you hear the rain, that's what that is. Cheers, boys and girls.
Cheers, buddy.
I know. Good to see you guys.
There we go.
There we go. So awesome.
Thank you for having us. We love your live streams.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We've had some fun times. This is how cool these two are. So we met in July. I think it was literally it was January 19, right? At the Tampa Super Show. They had a giant channel. I had 50 people on my channel. It was more than that, but really small. And they rolled up on me and said hello. And I had this, remember that elaborate patio set I had? Because I was a bonehead, thought I needed all this stuff for my van. Tables and chairs and rugs and lights and things. But hey, you know what? I had my liquor cabinet. So that was our first sharing of the libation together.
I thought Milwaukee was the first.
No, but this was
that was
2019.
Oh,
at Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That was my that was in my van.
But Milwaukee was 2018.
Yeah, but
18.
Tampa was
January 19.
Remember, we were on the were we on a golf cart and someone?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you were just buzzing around. So amazing. That's how they roll. Okay, so we got a question from Deborah here, and thank you for using the format. 3 stars, 3 question marks. Hi, Russo's and Scott. So pointed toward Russo's, what are top 3 things you like about your new LT besides Volta? I'm curious about that too. And by the way, nice to see Kait in the newest video. Oh, look at that. Right on the gate, a compliment for Kait. I know, right?
Kait does not like being on video. It's not her thing.
Not her thing. She's a camera lady.
Uh-huh.
Well, okay, I'll start it off.
Okay.
So one of my favorite things about our van that Joe added is our new seats.
Oh,
that you can kind of see if you turn the camera a little bit. There's our new
Scheelman seats.
Those are beauties.
There we go.
These are custom aftermarket seats, and we had them in our truck camper, and they're just so comfortable. And if anyone on the live chat or watching has been in a transit van, the seats are just not ideal for long-term travel, in my opinion. And I would say the 3 days we drove straight to Overland Expo from Indiana to Arizona, when you get into these seats, you feel just as good 12 hours later getting out. And Joe has, some neck and back problems, and these are really good seats. So I love the seats.
And I will say, so obviously doesn't come with the Storyteller. That was something we added.
Mm-hmm.
They are pricey, but if you're going to spend, thousands upon thousands of miles in your van or any vehicle, they're pretty universal. It's well worth the investment. Now, in terms of this van, what I will say is I love the Transit chassis.
Mm-hmm.
The motor is fantastic, and we've spent tens of thousands of miles in a Sprinter. We've been in previous Transits and all of that. The Transit motor powertrain just blows everything else out of the water.
The EcoBoost.
Oh, it's like a rocket ship. I saw someone else asking about the shower. We love the shower in here. We've used it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hideaway shower. So one of the big benefits about that, and something that a lot of people notice when they come into a Storyteller, is that it feels very open because you don't have that fixed bathroom and kind of, cordoning off of an area and taking up all that space. You can put it away when you're not using it. The other thing I found is in a fixed bathroom like we had in our Hymer, anytime you try to take a shower in there, you couldn't really bend over it. Like if you dropped the soap or you needed to wash your feet or something like that, it was almost impossible.
Well, you have to open the door.
Yeah, and then you get water all over the place. And let me see what else. Is that 3?
That's 3.
Okay, and I like the garage space.
Yes, for all the gear.
Yep.
Yeah, the garage is just so precious. I think it's it's one of the greatest things about my floor plan. The Murphy bed lays down myself, all that garage storage for grills and stuff. Now, you guys had kind of test drove a Storyteller with Volta in it. I'm kind of curious. Your Hymer had, as you said, Joe, a different lithium system. But what's been your experience with Volta so far? And it was great in your video that literally just posted a couple hours ago, turning on the AC and how effortless that is and how long it can run. Just any thoughts on Volta?
I think in general, we love lithium.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I think the system in the Storyteller is way overkill. We have 12 kilowatts of Volta power, which is the equivalent of about 1,000 amp hours at 12 volts. It's fantastic when you need to run the AC, but like in our previous truck camper, we had 300 amp hours of lithium battery, and that was with a decent amount of solar on the roof. We could go almost indefinitely unless it was completely overcast or something like that. And even then we were good for a couple days. I think Volta is awesome if you're planning on running the AC, you have dogs, you don't want to have to worry about it.
And we were camped at the expo over the weekend for 5 days. We didn't move. So Joe was able to make coffee every day. We were able to use all of our electric appliances. Instapot,
microwave, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I think in general, Volta or just lithium in general, once you've moved, if you like in our first camper, which you'll see shortly, we had 200 amp hours of deep cycle 12 volt batteries, which meant we had 100 usable amp hours. Now we've 10x that. And it's kind of amazing how much of a difference that makes in your lifestyle, how you live on the road. And we've actually talked about the fact that if we had had a battery system like this in our Class A motorhome, we may have kept it longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Talking with Jack and the Volta team here over the last few years, and now you can actually buy a Tiffin Class A with like a Megatron Volta system in it, because Class A's you really have to go from shore power to shore power. You really don't have a lot of alternatives because you got like 3 air conditioners. You're trying to cool 1,000 square feet or whatever. So yeah, I totally with you on that. And you're in a Storyteller. There's something about Storyteller I'm very interested. I'd love to have. It just has this little problem here, which is the bathroom. So so maybe Andrew's trying to talk me into it, but I don't know. Hey, this is kind of fun. We got Dean in the house. He's actually right there. Dean, what's up, man? He's my neighbor in the Volta parking lot. That's pretty cool. I got Terry. David's in the house. Thank you. This is kind of Ron. I think we said hi already. This is Mesa Mike. This is kind of fun. The Russos are to you, Scott, what you are to me. So again, it's kind of this peak to peak principle, and I think it's a YouTube content phenomenon that allows people to change lives intentionally, but not really ever knowing the lives you're changed. And that's what I love about this community here tonight, because are helping change lives. And literally, I'm serious as a heart attack. If it wasn't for you two, this would not be happening tonight. And none of this others would be doing this too. You might have found you on their own. I don't know. But I can't tell you what, how cool this is. I'm going to choke up here in a minute. Let's keep rolling. So let me show some content and we get into the rigs. So if you haven't been to if you're not a YouTube subscriber to them, now they're back in vans. So the stigma of, oh yeah, you're doing truck campers, I do vans, that's over. So please subscribe to their channel if you haven't done that already. You guys do beautiful work. Kait, your website is it continues to be a trophy site for me. I kind of try and emulate some of these things. I'm not sure about how you get floating hearts on there, but I hit the thing a few times for you. I hope that helps.
I'll send you a link later.
Yes, please. And Joe, tell us about your books, and then we want to talk about the rigs. Again, you went from the biggest to the smallest, now you're kind of back into vans. So tell us about being an author, because I'm curious about that. What's that experience been like? Maybe somebody doesn't want to do YouTube, but they want to be an author talking about their experience. So,
well, the whole thing for me started because we were, like, anytime we met people like yourself, we always got the questions about how did you start? Why did you start? Why are you living on the road? So I wrote the first book, Take Risks, to answer all those questions. It starts with us, or Kait, coming up with the idea to quit everything and hit the road in an RV, all the way up until our first day on the road. The next book, Tales from the Open Road, takes over and is that first year and a half. And both books were designed to give people an insight into everything it took on our end to get on the road. And then once we were on the road, some of the challenges and things we were overcoming with, initially it was just supposed to be a year on the road. And we decided that a month in, we had to find a way to keep it going, hence how the website and the YouTube channel came about. So the book kind of chronicles that and goes from, us making, I think, our first $50 all the way up to covering our expenses for the whole month, and what it took to do that. But to answer your question, being an author, it's difficult. You really have to develop a routine and write every day, have a schedule, sit down, do it, and really be committed to it. I wouldn't call myself a writer. It was just, I just sat down and started spewing stuff onto a computer, and I learned two things. One was your job is a writer. You're not an editor. You're not a copywriter. You're none of those things. What you do is you sit, you put words on a piece of paper or a computer screen. You don't go back. You don't try to fix it or anything else. You just go, and then you fix it later. And when you go to fix it later, at least in my case, I felt like I was reading a 10-year-old scribbles. And it took time. It took a lot of help from this one. I hired a professional editor for the second book, and it worked out.
You're possibly working on another book.
Yeah, I've started a third book. I've been working on a third book for a while. My laptop got stolen once, so I lost everything I had, and it's taken a while to get back to it. But I'm on page 1 of book 3.
Kait, I thought you were working on a cookbook. I thought that was going to be book 3.
I am working on a cookbook. I was going to say one of the best advice Joe gave me was just block out a piece of time every day where all I do is work on my cookbook. And that's been really helpful. And I'm now at the design stage of figuring out there's a lot to not only getting the content on the computer, but then getting it formatted for, let's say, an Amazon or all the other different platforms. So I'm in the formatting stage.
I would say writing the book, actually sitting down and writing the book, is only a very small portion of the battle. It's all the formatting, all the editing, everything else is what you just did times 5.
There's a lot. I admire anyone who's been able to publish any kind of a book, because there's a lot involved in just getting your content down on paper.
Yep.
Well, I think it kind of goes to even YouTube. I mean, I spend 5 or 6 hours putting this content together, whether I have guests or not. And even a YouTube video, I think my rate's about every 10 minutes somebody sees on YouTube, there's 10 hours, 5 hours of at least editing, plus recording, plus all the words. So if you're a content creator of any type, you know what a job it is, many hats, and then have the discipline to do this. I should have pulled it off the wall. Joe and signed my very first one. I literally go to sleep every night looking at that book title. And I don't know if you remember this. When I was thinking about exiting corporate America, I emailed you guys, and what was your answer, Joe? Did you see the title of the book? Take risks. I'm like, epiphany. Thank you for that help. That's awesome. Sage on the stage. Hey, we got a few questions. Denim has a good. How about Whiskey Wednesday? It's like Taco Tuesday, but for badasses. So let's have another toast to Whiskey Wednesday. I'm not changing the show name, but this is so good.
I feel like at midnight between Tuesday and Wednesday, we should eat tacos and drink whiskey.
Totally down for it. Let's see. We got a question here. Let's see. Marines, this might go for, how you guys do breakfast in your van too, but I always make your breakfast burrito so easy. Any new food tips? I do have a bunch I'm working on. I'm not going to do a cookbook. I'm not as savvy as Kait, but you guys will chuckle probably if you saw a few episodes back. I bought some cast iron, and I've been experimenting. And so I'm thinking about doing cast iron van chef and doing some things there. I wouldn't say it's easy working in cast iron. It's much easier to use the microwave. But I don't have a hot tip for you tonight other than I've gotten really good at soft scrambling eggs and ham in the microwave.
Oh, I do have a tip, though.
But yes, please.
Cast iron and microwave do not go together.
That will blow up my van, and my Volta thing will explode, and propane. And yes, thank you, Joe. Look at that. Tips right out of the gate, boys and girls. Thank you, Maureen, for asking. Get some questions in for here. They're right here. Wow, just kind of jerked. Let's see. Here's a good one. Maureen wants to know, Joe, how's your mom doing?
She's doing well. We're going to go see her this evening and spend a few days at the house. I got a text last night from her at like 11 at night boasting about how many miles she's been walking. So she's going along.
Yes. She'll
be around for a while.
This is a good question here. I'm trying to catch up. You guys are coming out as fast. So, Russo and Scott, you both had light and dark colored rigs. Have you noticed a real difference in inside temperature based on the exterior color?
I haven't noticed specifically. Have you?
No, not. I mean, it's been so long since we've had the Hymer, which was a dark gray. But I mean, we're in a white van. We've got the AC on, so I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, I think so what I've noticed, the biggest differences are, and one thing I don't like about camper vans is that big front window, because what ends up happening is if you park in such a way where the sun is hitting that window, that turns into a giant heat sink, and it just cooks the van to the point where even if you're running the AC, it just can't keep up. And I mean, that's true for any window in a camper. And one thing I really liked about our truck camper is we could have it in such a way where we didn't have a big window for all that sun to come in. And it actually stayed a lot cooler than a van would. I would say a big tip that we've learned is if you have something, put an outside cover on your window. That way the sun never gets through the window, because even if you have a sunshade on the inside, all that heat hits the sunshade, comes up and cooks you in your van.
That's interesting. Looks weird, but very practical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually found something at Walmart on clearance for like $1, and it was a
frost shield.
It was a frost shield. So to keep, if in the winter, to keep your like ice from building up on your windshield. But we use it when it's sunny out. We throw it on the windshield, and it kind of you open the doors. It has these little tabs, and it locks into the door when you close them. And it keeps the sun out of the van and keeps your van significantly cooler.
And I'm curious if that has, I mean, you're kind of early with your Storyteller, but how well would you rate the insulation on your Hymer compared to this rig?
Well,
it's hard to compare.
We're early in the Hymer, or early in the Storyteller that we own. But we've spent
about 6 months total.
More than 6 months, because we just did 10 weeks with my mom. Yeah, we've probably spent close to a year in Storytellers before we bought this, like testing, taking them around and everything. The insulation in here is very good because they use the wool insulation along with all this carpeting and everything on the walls, and the sunshades for the windows. They're also very good. Hymer was okay.
It's been so long, I can't like transport myself back to
it's hard
to figure it out.
Yeah, well, I think it's that the Storyteller, I think, is among the most, at least for kind of mass, they're less than mass than Wayne and Bago, but really well insulated, way more than my van for sure. Look at this. Catherine says you guys inspired Catherine as well, so that is so awesome. Ginger, she's so starstruck.
Hi, Ginger.
I know, she is so great. We gotta get her back in a van, boys and girls. We gotta have a bake sale and get her a van. Lucille.
I'll make
she had a rig just like mine. She full-time solo female in for a little over a year, and found a home base in Texas. This is the
the Rackatours, Emma and Jason.
What's up, guys?
Oh, that's cool.
We just spent the weekend with them at Overland Expo. They're an awesome couple. If you guys haven't check them out. Do it.
That is so cool. Well, thanks for joining the program tonight. Really appreciate that. Okay, looking for let's see. Not quite sure. Catherine has a question. Be honest, Joe, did you dislike the van you built out? You didn't seem to enjoy. I'm not sure which van she's referring to.
Are we talking about the maroon van?
Okay.
Oh, like the loaner thing?
A misunderstanding with the maroon van. So we, after our Hymer went away.
Let's see if I can find a photo.
Okay. We had no vehicle. The Hymer was our only vehicle. And we needed something to get around in. We wanted to continue camping. We were on the hunt for the next camper van. So in the interim, our buddy who has a paint shop said, hey, I've got this old beat up maroon GMC van you're welcome to use. Do whatever you want with it. Keep it for as long as you want. So we said, sure. We needed a vehicle. We wanted a camper. So I took a weekend, went down to Lowe's, bought a bunch of lumber, and made a basic build out in the van so we could camp it in. Everybody freaked out, thinking that somehow this was our new van, and we had sunk so low that we needed to be rescued. But it was just something we did for fun.
I don't know if you can see it, but
there we go.
The van.
Yeah, you guys were like.
Yeah, it was literally just something we wanted to go around and camp while we were searching for our next van. And it actually took us up to Salt Lake City, where we met Storyteller for the first time in 2019. So I think the takeaway from it is it doesn't matter what you're traveling in as long as it works for you. And I think that's the thing with this community is, as long as you're out there, as long as you're getting to do what you want, and whatever the vehicle is that works for you, be it a Honda Civic all the way up to a 45-foot custom motorhome, we all do things differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we've used different rigs throughout the years, I think we've learned that we're very adaptable. We can travel in a little passenger GMC van all the way up to the truck camper we had and the Class A that we started with. We can make it work because the ultimate goal for us is to travel. That's what we enjoy, and being together, and it doesn't really matter what we're in.
Yeah, as long as I can make coffee, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's really the only requirement. Let's be honest.
And you can travel around and find great coffee now, right?
Yeah, I saw Van Liberty asked about Starbucks via yes or no. I would say 100% no. But I have had some in my emergency coffee kit. So there are times where if I'm stuck someplace on a deserted island and I need coffee, I'll reach for one of those. But it'll be a dark day.
That's so great.
I will say if you're looking for good instant coffee, Doma, D-O-M-A, they're based out of Idaho. I really like their instant for it being instant.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be happy to know I graduated drip coffee.
Wait, what did you graduate from?
Coffee press, one cup at a time, which was cool, but I drink a lot of coffee like you, and I don't have the patience for you, Joe, with your little fancy pour over program. I want 5 cups in a few minutes and make my next pot. This is kind of interesting. So this is Teresa. Again, this is kind of the peak to peak principle, right? Watching my stuff, did you dream about traveling in a van? Here's Steve, staying in my van, led me to order his Travado. So again, it's just community building and validating dreams, demystifying. You guys have quit your corporate job. I mean, you guys have always been the template for me, and it's just the greatest thing. It's so cool. I just love this community. It'll be fun to see. Well, you've been hanging around the Storytellers for a while, so it's a very different community than Travado folks generally. But
the thing is, with the Storyteller community, anyone is welcome. Doesn't matter if you have a Revel, a Travado,
a truck camper,
which is so cool. Inclusive. Love inclusivity. And that's what I'm working with Andrew at Storyteller on. Which of those can I? They always seem to be in the West, and which is fine. But love to join one of those. I think it'd be really, really interesting. And I will charge to actually use my bathroom. $5 per use, in case you don't want to go dig a hole. Jack's got a question here. Says he just watched your latest video. We kind of talked about the hideaway shower, but Jack wants to know, by the way, he's kind of a bourbon guy too.
Nice.
From Georgia. Yeah. I know, right? Tell me about the golden wheels on your van. I noticed that too. What is the story on that?
So those are Storyteller's own wheels. So one cool thing is if you look at their Mercedes vans, they actually came out with their own wheels that you can buy. It used to be through their site. It's now through FlareSpace. Mm-hmm. But they're going to be selling the wheels for the Transit as well. And these are wheels for the all-wheel drive Transit, which is different than the two-wheel drive Transit. But they wanted the wheels to look cool and kind of go with the whole adventure van concept. And I really like the way they look.
Mm-hmm. I will say initially when I first saw them, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this color. But now I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm digging them.
It took me a little bit.
And this gives a little bit of a customization look to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A couple more questions, and then I want to show a few more pictures. Salty Medic, he is a salty dude. I've met him before. Are we going to see the Transit do off-road? Let's see where Joe takes it.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do something. There is actually a off-road driving course for van owners, but the class sold out in less than 15 minutes. So we'll have to wait for the next class release and maybe be able to get on that.
Well, we don't need a class to go off-road.
No, but it's fun to do it with other people.
Yeah, I think the thing is right now we're carrying the motorcycle. So the nice thing about having a home base is I think if we were going to do some off-roading and some overlanding, we'd take this home, drop the bike in the rack off, and then go back out and kind of load up some different gear. I think that's the one big benefit of being part-time now rather than full-time is we can kind of load the van for the experience we're going to have. So this summer is going to be mainly traveling around from show to show and traveling in between each weekend we have a show. So we plan for that. I think if we were going to do more off-roading and stuff like that, I'd have different tools with me, probably a spare tire, air compressor, and a number of other things we didn't bother to bring with us on this trip.
Yeah, because we have a whole recovery gear toolbox that we left at home.
That's funny. Recovery. This top of my mind. First of all, gotta have recovery gear. Greg's got a good question here. Greg wants to know: you made traveling with your mom in a van look easy. How was it really? I would like to take mine in the near future. Really enjoy your channel, the RUSSO'S. Good question, Greg. How did Mom do? How did you guys do?
She did great. She loved it. We boondocked out in the middle of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
We took her to some national parks and things like that. I will say the most difficult thing for us was the fact that she needed to get up multiple times during the night to go to the bathroom. So, that the big sliding door gets opened, gets shut, lights, all that sort of thing, and we could hear her move. So sleep on those nights was difficult. I would say having Mom with us, if we could take this exact van, stretch it out, and put an actual fixed bathroom in it, that would have been ideal for her. because it would have just made her life a lot easier. She has some difficulties with breathing and things because of her lungs. So walking to bathrooms or those types of things was a bit difficult for her, especially at night. But outside of that, it was great. And I think the one thing I would say is set expectations with whomever you're going to be traveling with. We talked to my mom and said, look, you know, we'll camp certain places, but for the most part, the expectation is you'll get a hotel room and we'll sleep in the van in the parking lot. And in a lot of hotels aren't dog friendly, so we would keep her dog in the van with us. But otherwise, it was great. And we used it as a traveling reunion for her.
Yeah. And if you're even just slightly thinking about taking your mom on a road trip in your van, do it. 100% do it. It's so worth it. I mean, those memories we'll cherish forever. And we still talk about it.
Yeah, we even got a little tipsy and camped at a Route 66 rest area off of the 40 in Texas with my mom, and she had a blast, and we have a lot of laughs from that night.
Yeah.
Which goes to Ginger's comment here. Never too early to libate. Van Liberty loves Woodford Reserve, which Joe's enjoying. I am not familiar with this one. Raise a glass of Eagle Rare to you all. Are you familiar with that one, Joe?
Those are hard to find.
They are.
Are they really? Oh my God.
Yeah, I would say if you ever make it out to the like Kentuckiana area, look for Benchmark. Their straight up Benchmark for a handle is about $16, $17. But for if you get the like the single barrel or anything like that, it's about 16, 17 for a regular size barrel or bottle, and they're fantastic.
Really, that's so interesting.
But you can only get it in that area.
Which is kind of what I'm discovering with some of these really good ones. Are really the distribution is not awesome because they just probably don't have the capacity, right? Buffalo Trace, I love Buffalo Trace. And Teresa, we just talked about this. Teresa, how did you like the Transit version?
So
how do you like that?
With Storyteller, the only real difference between their models is the chassis and what they've done to set them up. So the Transit inside is exactly the same as the Mercedes, which is something they've picked one floor plan and said, we're going to do this and really perfect it. And they've done it.
Kind of smart, right? Yeah. Kind of smart. Kait, we talked about this already. When are you going to see that recipe book? Do you have a date in mind?
Oh, I don't know. Well, so now that we're on the summer tour, I'm not going to have time to work on it.
Yeah, I would say let's not put a date out there.
No dates.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Slinger's got an interesting question. Man, this hour is going fast. We've got about 12 minutes left. Wants to know, for the Russos, what's the one thing about your new van you wish you could change but can't?
Ooh.
I would say so we're sitting on the Groove Lounge right now. And I would say the only drawback of this van is with the Groove Lounge, it's cool because you can sit two people with seatbelts. However, it's narrow between this point and right here, the countertop.
Oh, the hallway, the walkway.
The walkway. So you kind of have to scoot by sideways. Outside of that,
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, I feel so familiar with this van because we met the Storyteller team in 2019 and we tested their prototypes. And it's been multiple years of us just like trying out different rigs that they've made that feel like we just knew this was the one we wanted. I can't really think of anything. Oh, I know. If I could change one thing, it would be to increase the fuel economy of this van and any van currently, especially with the fuel prices.
Yeah, I think your video said you're getting it was like 8 miles a gallon or something. Which is crazy.
Yeah, we get about 12 and a half in this thing. In the Mercedes, we would get 14. But of course, gasoline is a lot less expensive right now.
Right now. What are you getting in your Travato?
Yeah, so I'm fairly loaded down, about 8,600 pounds, which is apparently 4 tons, according to the audience. So I get about 12 in the city, and I get about 15, 18 on the highway. I am the slowest guy on the road. The truckers are passing me. I love irritating people commuting to work in the morning like I did today, because I'm like, on the county, the county roads, 2-lane roads. They hate me, and I love to make them upset and late for work because I'm driving the speed limit because I look at the instant mileage. Let's see, a couple more questions. Let's show a few rigs. I love your journey, and I'm kind of so this is your first RV, Class A, and you went from this with a slide out to this.
Yeah.
And then you went from van to several vans. What was it like being in this for a day or two? Crazy?
Oh,
that thing was awesome.
It's so capable off-road. It drove so well.
I would say we probably would have bought one. The problem was the price at the time.
And the fuel economy.
Oh my God.
That was not good.
That thing was getting about it got almost the same fuel economy as our Class A motorhome. Wow. But the real reason we didn't go with that was they had a 18-month lead time, which today, if you were to buy one of those, I think because of the shortage of chassis and things, they're out about like 2.5 to 3 years.
That's insane. It's so cool looking. I'll never forget rolling up on it in the California RV show in 2020. That 19, I don't know where it was, but I'm like, I know that rig. Joe and Kait were that thing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And it's got that really weird exterior color and like spray painted with something weird, right? Kind of rough stuff. How about this one?
Yeah.
Are you gonna miss this?
Well, we still have the truck.
Yeah, and we just saw the camper over the weekend.
Yeah,
no way.
We know the people who bought the camper. I really miss it because I think one of the things I don't like about a van is when you're in a van, you can hear the rattling of everything behind you. No matter how well built the van is, you've got things in drawers and all of that, and it's always rattling around or there's some noise. With this, you have the cab and the camper separated, so you don't get that, and it's nice.
Interesting.
There was a lot more storage in that, especially because I took the back seat out and built a custom storage unit in there.
In the truck.
Yeah. And the since the camper itself wasn't tied to a chassis, we could change out the truck, we can change out the camper. We kept the truck and we're planning on doing something else with it. So it was really nice and versatile. I think my only complaint there was no option for an AC unit, and there were just we don't use AC often, but when we do, we really need it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, right? Maybe just a couple more questions. And Kait, I think you had a van tip for us tonight. You may even want to demo that because we're coming up on the top of the hour. Oh, I don't like when this thing skips.
Do you want me to demo it now? You let me know when.
Yeah, because I can't. It skips up a whole bunch. Yeah, let's zoom in for Kait, and she's got a van tip for you, boys and girls, and she's got great van tips. I learned some of mine from her and Joe. Let me tell you.
All right. So my van tip is, since we were just at an expo, and in my, welcome to the expo bag, there were about 3 of these koozies, and instead of throwing them out, so I just flip them inside out so the logo disappears, and then I put glass things that we have in the van inside this so that when it's sitting in the cabinet, it doesn't make any sound, and it's really nice.
That is so
that's my van tip. Reuse your koozie or old socks to minimize noise and to keep things from breaking.
That is a juicy tip. I love that. Thank you. I might actually use that. My stuff's pretty snug, but that's I learned how to fold clothes from you. Actually roll them, right? From one of your videos. That's how I do it from you. So that's Mason Mike has a question for you, Joe. When are you going to write a coffee connoisseur book? Ooh.
No, I don't write about my passions. if there's a quick way to not love something as much as you do, write a book about it. Trust me.
And that'll change your passion.
Lifestyle.
Not my passion.
Let's see. Roads of Life in the house. This is great. He's got a van on order. I think he gets it end of next month, an Embassy RV. Oh my God, look at this. Russo was one of his first people he saw on YouTube. Sorry, Scott, I came later. It's okay. Question here. You guys have connections with Winnebago. What's the best way to consider Together, consider 59P with lithium batteries inverter, which is missing currently. Do you guys do much dialogue with Winnebago?
No, we don't have any.
I thought they were referring to you.
And maybe they are.
You're into Winnebago.
Tarsu. Yeah, I think it's a price point. So I don't think you'll see that in there specifically for that. I think that's what they're after. There is a price point. Never know.
I would agree. I mean, I think from
Price
what
point,
what we've seen in the RV industry in general is a lot of RVs get built to a price point. And you might see two RVs that are very similar, but if you start digging under the hood to see what's actually in there, you really start to see where the differences come out.
Yeah, and I think it's, if you think about, vehicle manufacturers, they have a good, better, best in that brand, and they shift over a brand that starts where maybe the better or the best was on the other brand and go up again. And it's kind of a stepping stone into features and quality and blah blah blah. So it's the Solus is really compelling for me for a lot of reasons. And we have that Scott Score video coming up next month, I think it is. But so Roads of Life wants to know when I'm getting a Storyteller. The problem with Storyteller for me, and I was going to ask Kait about this. So you guys he wants to know when we'd be getting one. It's pretty compelling. I'm not big on Mercedes, I'm not big on diesel, so Transit is interesting. But my biggest problem is the toilet. Now you guys were cassette toilet users in the Hymer, #1 only. So has the toilet been an issue in the Storyteller? Because it too doesn't really even have a cassette. I mean, you got emergency use only. So how are you dealing with a toilet thing?
Yeah, we've been using it just like our other portable toilet that we had in the truck camper. It's just the capacity of the toilet that came with this van is half of that. I think it's about 2.5 gallons or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's been working out really well. I mean, I've always liked.
I wouldn't go back to a black tank.
That.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we when we took my mom and aunt out recently, we were in a Gretsch RV, really nice. But it had a black tank, and I had to dump that before we returned the RV to them. And I remember how terrible it was in comparison to how easy a cassette toilet is.
Two very different experiences.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But I will say, Scott, I mean, people have been installing all kinds of like different toilet options in their Storyteller. So I don't know if anyone's done like a black tank conversion,
but like compost or something like that, or the dry flush.
Yeah, dry flush has been very popular. But you should ask if they'll let you take out one of the demo vans, and you could give it a shot, see what you think.
It's on my list to talk with Andrew about, because it's a great point and a great question. Okay, I got a couple more questions for you guys. There's a few more in here. If we go over a few minutes, is that going to be a problem with you guys? I know you got mom kind of on the.
We love your live streams. Happy to see.
It's so great. I love it too. It's such a great group tonight. And there was a great question. I've lost it again. I don't like how this thing skips. I've never really noticed this before. It was a gal. She was asking. Oh, this here right here, Sherry. Since Joe and Kait now have a home base, have you found it more difficult to find time to travel due to upkeep on the home? And I loved how you had your sponsor video on your rail of your deck. You had all the products out there. That was very clever, having kind of seen that. But it's a great question. So how do you kind of balance between the two?
Well, it's still early. I mean, we moved in December. So it's been a little 6 months.
Year.
And so we're still trying to figure that out. I think what's nice about the area we chose is we have some friends in the area who can go and look in on the property. We have hired people to mow grass and that, so it's not something we have to be concerned about when we're gone.
Yeah, and because we're in a small town, our local post office is very flexible with mail hold, and we're still figuring things out.
Yeah, but I think what we're going to do here is we've got a few weeks in between events, so we're actually going to park the van, store it, fly back to Indiana, get to spend a few weeks at home, just make sure everything is copacetic, and then we'll fly back out.
Plus, I want to see how all of our fruit trees are doing. We planted some strawberries, and they were just starting to come out. Things are blooming, so got to go back and check on everything.
That is so cool. A couple more questions. I got some rapid fire ones. I do want to talk about advice. You guys have such a vast experience. And I would love to know your thoughts on those. So I kind of have that Joe and Kait can see off screen. But let's do just a couple more here. This is a great one. These have all been great questions. I really appreciate having great questions. Steve wants to know, what, if any, observations do you have about the off-road capabilities of Storyteller versus Hymer and your camper truck? And Storyteller gets a little interesting because you've done the Sprinter and the Transit now.
Yeah. So the thing with Storyteller is, right now, I don't know if they'll change this in the future. I doubt it. But they only build on either the all-wheel drive Transit or the 4x4 Sprinter. The Hymer was built on the Ram ProMaster chassis, which only, at least in the US, only comes in 2-wheel drive. So I wouldn't really call it a comparison. I would say the Hymer was fine for what it was. The big problem we found with the Ram ProMaster was the fact that it was front-wheel drive, and most of the bias for the weight of the van was on the rear wheels. So we actually ended up getting stuck in like wet grass a few times. So that was kind of the downside of it, and one of the reasons why we wanted to go with a 4-wheel drive vehicle. The camper truck, I will say, would blow any van out of the water, or I would say any Mercedes or Transit out of the water, because the truck was built to be a 4x4 truck. Heavy duty suspension, heavy duty axles, everything else. It's meant to go off road. Whereas vans are the 4-wheel drive or the all-wheel drive is primarily meant to be more like, let's say, dirt roads or ice and snow type of situations. They're not meant to be rock crawlers, where you can take a truck and you can, even just a base like a Toyota Tacoma or that, you can take it and turn it into a serious rock crawler, because they can be outfitted to do that sort of thing.
Well said. And my van looks like it can climb a wall but can barely get over a curb. So there you go. Steve wants to know, RUSSO'S, did you ever spend a night in the truck camper with the top down? I'm assuming he means compressed. Can you sleep in that with the...
Well, you can sleep one in our truck camper. So I've taken naps in our truck camper with the top down. But Joe and I have not slept in the camper together with the top down, just because we don't fit. Yeah,
and we never really had a reason to. People are kind of surprised to learn, but we used to street camp. We used to boondock. We would
Walmart,
Cracker Barrel. We would camp everywhere you might camp in a van in that, and we would pop the top, and we never had an issue.
This is great. We got some. This is a great group tonight. This is Jerry Minchie. He is a cool cat. Written many books on RVing. Full-time RVer. He uses koozies to protect his wine glasses.
Yep.
Nice.
That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. All right, let's. We don't want to take your guy. I know you got mom waiting, so let me just. I'm really serious about getting some advice from such experienced folks as yourself. So, advice, and I get this question asked all the time. What kind of advice would you give somebody that wants to buy an RV, has the means, and can put a down payment, whatever? Wait or buy? What's your thoughts right now?
I would say buy. I don't. You wait, and who knows what's going to happen in a year. You might not be able to be in an RV anymore. You might not have the funds anymore. Things could change in your life. I would say buy it and do it. Take the risks.
There you go. I would say, it depends on your life circumstances, right? So.
Well, if it's something you can afford and you're ready to do.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. Joe says go for it.
I agree. Next one. Part-time versus full-time. And this is very subjective, but any advice for doing either, since you've had some experience with both?
I would say both are great. But full-time travel takes a certain kind of mentality and thought process. So really kind of weigh and see if it's right for you. Excuse me.
Yeah. What Joe's
Kait doesn't have much to say.
Well, I'm so new to part-time RVing that I'm still, we were on the road full-time for 6.5 years.
I will say
I loved it all, but I'm also enjoying being off the roof.
We have to rephrase these questions for Kait.
Okay.
So Kait, What do you think of? Have you met people who maybe full-time isn't for them?
Yes. Oh, I've met a lot of people. Yes.
So would you say
get off the road?
So would you say full-timing is for everyone?
No, definitely not.
Okay. So would you say part-time might be good for some people to try?
Absolutely.
What if they're couples?
What if they're couples?
Is it difficult to be full-timing?
It depends on the couple.
Exactly. So they have to figure it out.
Yes.
Okay. So you just have to frame the question properly.
You gotta frame it for Kait.
For a while. Joe knows what's going on in my head.
This is so great. I love you too. It's so awesome. Okay, last question, and then we'll turn you loose. So my audience is kind of, well, I'm guessing like yours. So there's a lot of folks that are researching vans. A lot of folks that have deposits down there waiting for vans, and then they flip the switch. They get delivery of their van. Now they become a van owner. So maybe kind of in the context of if you're approaching a delivery date, or you now have your van, what are 3 things you would kind of recommend for a new RVer? And any kind of RV, really, since you guys have had so many.
I would say 1, don't go out and buy stuff.
Right away.
I think that's the biggest mistake a lot of people make is they either have their van on order or they just got their van, and they think they read all these forum posts and everything else, and they think they have to have all this stuff. Don't. Get your van, use it, play with it, and start to really understand how you're going to use it, because how someone else uses it isn't going to be the same. And really evaluate what you need before you go out and buy it.
And I would say read all the manuals that come with your rig. So read about the chassis, read about the different components that are, fixed in your van, and come up with some kind of a little checklist, right? There are maintenance things that need to get done for certain things, and knowing how to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Really get to know your rig. That will save you a lot of, I think, trouble and headache down the road when something does go wrong.
Yep. And I would say my big piece of advice for a lot of people, and I've also seen this mistake made, is especially for people who have ordered a van or any RV and it's delayed and they're so excited to get it, they show up at the dealer, they take delivery, they drive off, and off they go. What I like to tell people is never do that. When you take delivery of a new RV, there's very likely going to be some issues with it. And a lot of times, even the best dealers, they do their best to go through the van, make sure it's already what they call PDI, pre-delivery inspection. But it's really up to you to go through that RV and make sure that everything works. Run the water, have them put water in it, have them put propane in it if it has propane tanks. Run the microwave, run the battery system. If it has an auto start to recharge the battery system, run the AC and run the battery system down until that system kicks on to make sure it works. Because once you drive off that dealership and you sign those papers, it's all on you. And as many of us in the RV industry know, especially as busy as things have been, it could be months before you can get anything fixed. And so what I always tell people is, you've put a deposit down, you're going to take delivery of your RV, make it very clear to the dealer that you will not take delivery of that RV. You will not sign the final paperwork and give them that final check until everything on your RV is perfect. Take a piece of paper, go through it, write everything down. And if you have to wait a few days for them to fix everything, do it. Yeah. Otherwise, it could take months.
And I think that goes into planning for your pickup to allow for multiple days, and don't have such a tight time schedule so that you can't spend that time. And don't be afraid to take a shower in there before you take delivery, and just really use the camper like you would use it.
And also I know this is hard, but don't be afraid to say no. I've gone into some RVs at RV shows, and I've seen, pieces of the wall like falling off, big issues that you can find, and just going through and looking at some of those. So make sure the RV is up to your standards before you take delivery of it. Yeah,
and don't take that, we can fix that later. That's not going to be okay. Yeah, have them do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're going to play on your emotion that you want to get going. And I think a lot of the better RV dealers also, you can even stay in their lot that first night. So really get accustomed to it. I know Sunshine State RVs in Gainesville, Florida. They put you up at a campground a couple miles down the road because our lot's really tiny. You can't stay. There's no room, but they put you up for 2 nights, so you can actually go through all the systems like you just said. I know Lixon, you can stay overnight. So it's just such great advice. Well, I have so we could go forever. We've got so great having you here. Let me just kind of put this up on the screen again. If you're not following the Russos, they're back to van life. So if you're a van bigot, rejoin the party, boys and girls. So where's the best place to find you guys?
I would say our website, we'retherussos.com, or our YouTube channel. We don't do too much on Instagram or Facebook, but those two are YouTube and our website. And then, of course, the 2 books on Amazon. So if you go on Amazon, just search for Joe Russo, and my book should pop up.
Yeah, they do pop up real quick. I tried that. Yeah, your website is just an inspiration to me. I'm looking to redo it, and it's such a resource. So if you are out and about, you got a lot of kind of travel, where to go, what to do. It's just really well done. Kait, are you in charge of that, or is that?
It's a team effort. Yeah, Joe and I both work on it.
I would say 10% of the team right here.
No, more than that. More than that. Joe does a lot. We're a good team.
Very good team. You guys are so awesome. And I just want to say thank you for joining the show tonight, just being such an inspiration to me and so many others. And I can't wait for our paths to cross again. And it's just been such a pleasure. Everybody give a thumb up for Joe and Kait tonight. And again, it's just been a dream come true having you on tonight. Seriously, hard talk.
I want to say a big thank you to you, but also to everyone in the chat and all the awesome questions and everything.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Really love what you are doing and what you're sharing with the community. And as I said earlier, I really love coming on to your live chats because I just love how engaged your audience is, and I really appreciate the information you're sharing. And you put so much effort and time into these live streams, and it really shows. So keep doing what you're doing, and we'll keep following along.
And I will say, the advice I gave you before the show started, you followed.
Which was done. And apparently the internet gods were listening too, so we had no issues. So one last toast to Joe and Kait, and thank you again. Go take care of Mom. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Joe and Kait, stay in the studio. Don't we'll disconnect here for just a second, but hang tight. Again, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday. New video on Sunday, doing a Scott score on that popular van. I forgot the Nova Coachman C, and you may not be surprised by how it rated. So, okay, so we see you soon. I wish you to journey on